Hi folks, and welcome to their Saturday morning Samoflange. I'm Matt, and today I'm going to go over my top 5 favorite Val Kilmer movies. That's right, I am one of the last surviving Val Kilmer fans out there, I think. Val Kilmer, oh man, another actor who doesn't do movies anymore. I think he, had throat cancer for a while. I mean, he didn't say that, but that's kind of obviously what the case was. He doesn't do that many movies now. He did a lot of... He was another actor that I've heard is very difficult to work with, and probably that's why he doesn't do that many. Man, what's with me and difficult actors, right? He's done a few direct-to-DVD movies, and I watched them all back in the day, again, at Blockbuster. I would search through the new releases. If anything said Val Kilmer, I got it. I would also go to the counter and say, hey, what do you have with Val Kilmer in it? And they'd look at me like, who? I'd be like, Ice from Top Gun. They go, oh, yeah, that dude. I mean, he was big in the 90s, right, with a few things. But Island of Dr. Moreau, which is a strange movie there. But anyway, he did some other stuff. He did some stuff way, way, way back in the 80s, too. Real Genius and stuff like that. And those are okay. But and some of his stuff that I have is from the 90s, and maybe one 80s. I can't remember. No, I think they're all 90s here is what I have. And then one that's later on. I have a direct-to-DVD one that I thought was really good. So I thought I'd just cover those today because, I mean, who else out there is a Val Kilmer fan? There's not many out there, I can imagine. You see him every once in a while. He'll pop up guest star appearances in movies here and there, children's shows. He's given his voice to... If I remember, it's Road to El Dorado. I can't remember, but he also did some kind of Christian. I think he did the Moses animated movie. I can't remember, but I'm not going to have any of those, obviously, at my top. But if it has Val Kilmer, I'm going to watch it. Now, Val Kilmer was supposed to be in Maverick. I don't know just as a guest appearance or what, but I was excited. I was super excited. I mean, here comes Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, two of my favorites. Now that I say that, you're thinking, aha, Matt, this is where Top Gun comes into your top 5, and you're wrong. It's not. No. I love Top Gun. Again, I think Val Kilmer does a great job as the over-the-top villain in Top Gun. I think he's great. But even Top Gun, for the Val Kilmer lovers, does not get in, sadly. Now, true story, I almost got to visit, or get the autograph of Val Kilmer. I was super excited about this, too. It was one of the last... as you folks know, the missus and I used to go to several Comic Cons back in the day. And one of the Comic Cons in particular we were going to was in Dallas. And a bonus surprise for me, someone that they had added, I think it was Dallas. It could have been the one in Kentucky, but I can't remember. Either way, Val Kilmer was going to be there. Like, shut up. I love Val Kilmer. I didn't know what I was going to have him sign, but I was going to have him sign something. And I figured out what it was. It's one of my favorite movies with him that I'll get to later. I was like, I got to have him sign this. I got to have him sign this. He's so good. And I could not wait to see him. And when we got there, we got the news that he was unable to attend because he was going to be filming something or something. So, of course, work always comes first. I totally understand that. But, missed my chance. I heard after that he did the rounds a little bit. But now, this is something, now that I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but now with COVID, are Comic Cons done? What celebrity would want to meet fans, shake hands, and take pictures with them anymore? It's kind of like they'd be dangerous now. So they may not want to do that anymore. So I wonder if that is gone now. Maybe they sign an autograph and you stay away. You take a picture from away from them, or you stay in front of the table, they stay behind the table. That's interesting to think about now. How does this impact Comic Cons? I mean, right now, no Comic Cons are going on, period. But when they do come back, are celebrities not going to be interacting with fans as much? If so, that'd be sad. It's one of the best things about Comic Cons. You get to talk and interact with these people who you've idolized on screen, on the big or small screen, all your life. Now, one of the other things I'm not going to talk about is some of his TV appearances, even though I think they're funny. One of my favorite, I will talk about my favorite TV appearance, because I didn't even know it was him. It wasn't even billed as him. It was this TV show called Entourage. Entourage is, I don't think I have them anymore. I think I gave them all away, or I'm not attached to them. I'm at this point. I'm like, you know what? I thought I'd watch them one more time, but probably not. It's about an actor and trying to get roles in Hollywood, and he brings all his friends. It was based loosely off of Mark Wahlberg's story, where he went to Hollywood, brought a bunch of friends with him, and it's it's interesting, and so it's funny. It's got guest star appearances galore. There are tons of guest star appearances. His brother is a former star, kind of like how Donnie Wahlberg used to be a former star with New Kids on the Block. So it's like what film imitating life there, and it's a fun TV show. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it again one day. I have them all on DVD because a buddy of mine, he got them all and then decided that he wasn't going to watch them again, so he gave them all to me. The only thing I had to buy was the movie, and I wanted to because Ari Gold is played by Jeremy. Jeremy with a P. I'm terrible with names. Anyway, but Jeremy was his Ari Gold was just great to watch, and the last episode ended kind of on a cliffhanger in a way, which I was excited to listen to and see what was going to happen. But and they do resolve it in the movie, just not the way you probably want it to be resolved. But anyway, I know that it was very rare that the celebrity came on there. They didn't play themselves. Usually, celebrities play caricatures of themselves, like extreme caricatures of themselves. But in this case, they had Val Kilmer on there, who played a completely different character. You couldn't even tell it was Val Kilmer until the end when it's a special appearance by Val Kilmer. And I was like, shut up, that was him? I didn't even know that. And of course, as you know from my Tom Cruise podcast I did a few weeks ago, I love it when I'm surprised by an actor who I didn't expect was going to be in there, and he kind of flew under the radar because of the way he's dressed, the costume, or whatnot. And just the acting was a lot different than what I thought Val Kilmer could do. Now, regardless what you think or say about Val Kilmer, I think he is a fantastic actor. I really do. I was really looking forward to talking to him because like I said, I have seen all of his direct-to-DVD movies. And I was going to sit there and just brag. Like, oh, I saw Twixt. I love you when you did this in Twixt. And blah, blah. I was going to go through every single one of his direct-to-DVD movies and talk about how much I was a fan. Not his old, glory days, which I'm sure everyone wants to talk about. But I was going to say, hey, today I love your movies. And I knew he was going to be so, impressed. He was going to say, Matt, my good friend, here, come sit at my side. Oh, yes, Val, let's hang out. Let's be best friends forever. Ha, ha, ha. And then I was going to wake up. Probably had it going in my head. Anyway, so this may not interest you. You may say, well, Val Kilmer's not that interesting an actor. Well, I disagree here. Now, I am going to give a few honorable mentions. One movie I just watched about a month ago in preparation for this, because ooh, is this a top 5 movie? And then I realized he's hardly in it, which is weird because he's part of the poster. Heat. Val Kilmer's hardly in that, and the character he plays is not that good. I mean, it's kind of one-dimensional, and you don't get to see him that much. And Val Kilmer's not. I mean, he's just in it, I guess, because it's a Scorsese film. But he's hardly in it, and that's weird because I remember loving that film. It's a good film. But I remember loving Val Kilmer's character. Like, oh, man, he's great. This is awesome. I remember that fight at the end. Yeah, the fight's there at the end, but Val Kilmer ain't anywhere in between. And so Val Kilmer's hardly in this movie, and I just never realized that. And the whole time I was watching it with Megan, I was going, well, I thought Val Kilmer was in this a little bit more. And I remember telling my brother, he goes, yeah, I saw it recently too. He said, Val Kilmer's not in it that much, is he? Yeah. It kind of fools you. You think he is, but he's not. So Heat, which, if I hadn't have watched that movie again, it probably would have made my top 5. And it has no business being in my top 5 because he's hardly in that one. But some other ones I thought were okay, but not good enough. One was The Saint. Saint was one of his last hurrahs before he started losing jobs left and right, I believe. He plays different characters and actors, which is why I like it. It just misses outside because there are better ones there. Another one is The Doors. I know this is going to be a number 1 for a lot of people, or a top 5 for a lot of people, because everyone loves how he portrayed Jim Morrison in The Doors. And yeah, he did a great job. The thing is, I don't really care about The Doors that much. Don't really care about The Doors that much. So, you can just shut the door. I move on because that doesn't impress me. So for me, The Doors, even though it was great, and I'm sure he got, the Doors guy, Jim Morrison, right, smack dab on, and he looked the part and everything. He probably played the part too, because Val Kilmer is also a nice method actor. He really gets into his roles. But for me, it just kind of fell short. I just wasn't as impressed. And that's because I'm just not a big fan of the Doors. I listen to the Doors music. I know what they sing and everything. It's just like, yeah, you know what? No, I'm not that big of a Doors fan. If I was, it'd probably be in my top 5. Another one that almost got in, and it probably should have. In fact, I should watch both of these movies, and then my number 5, my honorable mention, and I'd probably switch them right out. But it'd been a while, so I dropped Ghost in the Darkness. Ghost in the Darkness is based off a true story, and even though they embellish in the movie, it's great. It's got a guy going after these lions. These lions in the movie are kind of hinted at it being demon-possessed. And they weren't in real life. They were just, man-killing lions, that they had to be hunted down to kill back in somewhere in Africa. But Ghost in the Darkness, the movie, is great stuff. Great stuff. Absolutely love it. Of course, Island of Dr. Moreau, I already talked about. It's a weird one. I enjoy it. He's with the Godfather of Marlon Brando. And I think that's one of Marlon Brando's last roles, right? I mean, this is late 90s and stuff. Or mid-90s, I think. And you get to say you did a movie with Marlon Brando. That's got to be something, right? It's a good movie. But, again, I heard Val Kilmer hard to work with because I think there's a blue bandana around his arm or something. And the thing is, no one wanted to have that but Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer wanted to wear that for the character, but no one else. The director didn't want it. No one else wanted it. And that's sadly what I hear from everyone. He's very difficult. He was very difficult to work with. And just like Ed Norton, that's why he doesn't get that many jobs today. I mean, a lot of his jobs are going to come from the form of, direct to DVD, which, that's fine. If that's all that he's going to get, direct to DVD, oh well, that's fine. It's easier for me to pick up his movies. Plus, him being sick, he hasn't made that many. So just like Edward Norton, there's a reason I've watched all of their movies. There's another actor, I'm not going to say who right now, but I was going to put him on here next, and then I realized there's just a ton of movies that he's been in, that not only been in, but starred, that I haven't seen, which is kind of wild because I love his movies, and I've seen a lot of them, but I realized I only started watching them over the past, watching them religiously over the past 10 years. I've made sure to keep up with everything he's done. But anything prior to that, I really haven't seen much of. In fact, less than 10 years. I think there's a movie that came out 7 years ago that I never even heard of that he stars in. So I want to hold off before I do one on him because there's like a half of his movies that have come out since 2000. I think I'm watching one from 2005 to 2013. There's like 8 more movies he's made since then, on top of all the other ones he's made. So I want to see those too. But anyway, the Ghost in the Darkness is a great film, but it misses out here. And let's just go ahead and get to my top 5. All right, so my number 5 is an older movie of Val Kilmer's. No, not Real Genius. No, not, what was the other one he did? Oh, Real McCoy. If anyone remembers Real McCoy. I kind of remember that. I remember he had a backwards black cap on. He was looking cool. Was kind of flirting with a blonde girl. Anyway, it's Thunderheart. Thunderheart, he is playing an FBI agent who is investigating or helping out on some Indian tribe in New Mexico. Now, and by the way, Val Kilmer's agent, FBI agent, is also a part Indian or whatnot. Now, it is interesting. This is filmed in New Mexico. A lot of Val Kilmer movies were filmed in New Mexico because he's a big fan of New Mexico. In fact, he lives there today. A lot of his direct-to-DVD movies were filmed in New Mexico because he'll be in your movie if you film it in New Mexico. I can't remember what happened to him in the news a few years back, but he's trying to get some kind of extension on his ranch, and the people in New Mexico are like, nope, You're not getting it. You're not getting it. It's like New Mexico. How many celebrities do y'all have? 0. Maybe counting Val Kilmer, 1. He's your only celebrity resident, and you're not gonna let him, get. I can't remember what it was they were trying to get, but they said nope, not for Val Kilmer. They won't do it. So that kind of sucks, especially when he loves New Mexico. Now I don't know what his infatuation is with New Mexico. Personally, I've never been there myself. I'm sure it must be a nice place, but a place to retire in? I don't know, man. I think there'd be better places. But he is a big fan of New Mexico, so you see a lot of his movies get filmed in New Mexico, and I get that, right? Hey, I don't want to leave my home state, so y'all come to me. You set up your cameras, and I'll read whatever lines and do whatever scenes you want me to do. Yeah, makes sense. So anyway, he is an FBI agent in New Mexico, and I can't remember exactly what is going on here, but he's trying to work with this tribe. The tribe is not interested in helping him out. There's a hilarious scene where they're all on motorcycles, and one of the Indians just drives by on his motorcycle, flipping in the bird without even looking at him. I remember thinking that was really funny. And later on, I think Val Kilmer, you're never going to see this movie. I can already tell you right now. I'm not really making it sound good, but Val Kilmer has a vision, something that the Indians, one of his Indian friend, quote unquote friend, they're not friends at first. He's just been assigned to help the FBI agent. He's like, I've been, an Indian been waiting his whole life to have a vision. And then some future people comes in here and has a vision. Bah! And he's like totally disgusted. It reminds me of the scene of Miss Miyagi trying to capture the fly with the chopsticks. And then Daniel comes in and does it in 2 seconds. And then he says, then Daniel's son says, hey, I guess that means I got my body. He's like, no, it means you're lucky. And Mr. Miyagi slams down the chopsticks and marches off. I think that's funny. It's the same kind of joke here. The Indians waited his whole life for a vision, and you get a vision, of anyone else. So I just remember, this is back when I was just getting anything and everything that had Val Kilmer's name on it, even older stuff. I remember I watched Real Genius, Real McCoy, and Thunderheart all at once. I rented them all because they were on the cheap. They were $2 each, I remember, at Blockbuster. And Thunderheart was the most enjoyable one. Now, to be honest, if I had to watch Thunderheart again and Ghost in the Darkness may be my number 5. Just because it was really good. But I just can't remember. All I know is that Thunderheart had me laugh a couple of times, and it was a really big shock for a direct-to-DVD movie, or one of his early movies, I should say. I don't know if it was direct-to-DVD or if it came out came out in the movie theater. If it did, I didn't see it. But of course, I wasn't a big. It's kind of hard to say you went to every movie Val Kilmer ever did. I mean, back in the 90s, yeah, but some of his other stuff, I don't know. I never saw Real Genius. That wasn't really what I would consider an 80s classic back in the day. Anyway, my number 4 is a direct-to-DVD release, and I absolutely loved it. It's another one that I got from Blockbuster when it came out, and I was like, the funny thing was, I got it because of Val Kilmer. I kept waiting for the first, X amount of time for Val Kilmer to show up until I finally figured out who he was. Because he just had such a different look in the film that it just kind of hit me at first. Like, oh no, that is Val Kilmer. And that movie is called Felon. Now in Felon, I believe Stephen Dorff is in it. If I remember right, he is chasing a man who broke into his house. And he chases him out in the front yard and he shoots him. But because he's no longer in the house, it's considered murder. And so he has to go to jail for committing murder against a guy who robbed him. Yeah, this is insane. Well, in jail, he meets up with Val Kilmer, who is just this beefy, mean-looking dude with a goatee and everything. I mean, doesn't even look like Val Kilmer. Like I said, when I first saw the movie, it took me a scene or two to realize, oh, wait, that is Val Kilmer. I was like, when's Val going to show up in this? And I just thought he just played a great character, a character that you didn't see him play before. His character had real depth and emotion. And that's the thing. I wanted to tell him this. I wanted to tell him, I saw Felon, and I think it's one of your best movies since, whatever. But I love Felon. I think it's a really solid film. Not sure if you're a Stephen Dorff fan or a Val Kilmer fan. I'm not even sure if this one's. That's the sad thing about these. A lot of these aren't available for streaming. So you can't really say, oh, check it out on Netflix. Because, yeah, are they going to have Felon? Maybe. maybe they do have some of these throwaway movies you can watch on your own. But if so, I would say check out Felon. Pretty good one. All right, so my number 3 is a very popular movie, and it was the one that I was going to have him sign. It is Batman Forever. I'm a huge Batman fan, and as you know, this Batman Forever was the first Joe Schumacher takeover of, what had previously been, and I lost his name now. See, that's how bad I am with names in Hollywood. The director, see, I can think of the guy who wrote the music, Danny Elfman, and I can't think of the director who's worked with Johnny Depp several times. Look at this. Johnny Depp. There's another guy I haven't mentioned here before. I can't think of the director's name. Oh my gosh. I can think of every movie this guy has done before. James and the Giant Peach, Beetlejuice. It's not coming to me. Okay, well, I know there's a lot of people yelling at your podcast right now, and you'll let me know in the comments, but guess what? By then, I've already figured it out. It'll probably come to me later on. Anyway, the Batman series had moved on without Michael Keaton. A lot of people were upset by that. They didn't, they didn't want to see what the next one would be. I was kind of interested because, yes, I was sad that Michael Keaton wasn't in anymore. See, it's just bothering me now that I can't think of that director. Anyway, oh well. Like I said, it'll come to me someday. But anyway, golly, this is bothering me. I should look it up by now, right? All right. So anyway, I'm moving on. I'm done with it. Whatever it is. Edward Scissorhands. Who's in Edward Scissorhands? He directed that one too. Don't know. Tim Burton. There you go. See, I knew it would come to me after a while. Goodness gracious. This is what happens when you get this old, folks. And it's always been this way. I've never been able to remember movie names. Actors and actresses, I cannot remember that stuff. It's just, do I love movies? Yeah, I love movies. I just can't remember people's names. Not for the life of me. Megan has to remind me of all the actors and actresses that I like, because I don't know their names. I can tell you where they're in, but I can't tell you their names. I can tell you the characters they play, but I don't know their names a lot of the time. But anyway, yeah, Tim Burton had kind of moved on. Everyone was sad. But I was ready to give Batman Forever a chance because, A, Val Kilmer, I was like, oh, he's a good one. And then I wanted to see the Riddler. And back then, Jim Carrey was the bee's knees back then. So I was excited to see him as Jim Carrey. As the Riddler. Now, supposedly, what's his name? Robin Williams was going to be the Riddler and Tim Burton's Batman. But, woulda, shoulda, coulda. I remember when this movie came out, I hated, and I still hate Two-Face. Two-Face is the worst thing about the movie. Tommy Lee Jones, not his fault. Joe Schumacher was told by McDonald's to make it happier. Two-Face is a dark character, so they made him like the Joker, which was really dumb and a big mistake if you ask me. Jim Carrey did a pretty good job as the Riddler, and Val Kilmer as Batman was great. Now, I didn't realize how great until I just rewatched the movies about 5 years or so ago. I was watching with my brother. We decided to watch at the beach. We decided to watch all 4 Batman movies, even the terrible Batman and Robin. And while we watched the first 2, we enjoyed them, and we watched the third one. And I said, you know what? Besides Two-Face, it's a very good movie. Besides Two-Face, because Val Kilmer does a great job as Bruce Wayne. And that's the thing. Playing Batman, you don't need any personality. All right? It doesn't require personality to play Batman. It does require personality to play, Bruce Wayne. You got to be convincible. You got to be, and that's what Michael Keaton did. He played a really good Bruce Wayne. And that's what Christian Bale never did. He played an awful Bruce. His Bruce Wayne you hated. You're not supposed to hate Bruce Wayne. You're supposed to like Bruce Wayne, but then not expect him to be Batman, which is why Adam West is probably still the best Bruce Wayne. Just because that millionaire playboy, he had it down pat. And did anyone think he would be Batman? Nope. But I think Val Kilmer did a really good job. And Batman Forever is my number 3. My number 2 is, it was a hard one. This one almost was number 1. Just because Mad Mardigan is one of his finest characters in Willow. Willow is an old George Lucas classic movie, basically your classic fantasy tale, with all the tropes put into it. It came out. This one I believe came out in 1990. Period, and it was just great. Still a fun movie. I watched it not about 2 years ago, and can't wait to watch this with my girls. They're gonna love it too. Mad Morgan, though. Val Kilmer as Mad Morgan. For the longest, I never realized it was Val Kilmer in that role. I just back in high school and whatnot, college. I guess I just wasn't paying attention that because he had long dark hair and Val Kilmer has blonde hair, and I just didn't get it. And years later, I realized, oh wait, that is Val Kilmer, and that is one of his best roles. I mean, he's playing a Han Solo, right? Basically, that's all it is. It's a Han Solo in medieval times with magic movie. And Val Kilmer does a fantastic job. He and the love interest bickering back and forth, all the great one-liners, feeding the little girl Blackroot. He's like, oh, come on, it's good for her. Go hair in your chest. Stuff like that. Just the stuff he was doing when he had the love powder or whatnot on him for a while. I mean, he's calling Willow a peck. I'm sorry, peck. Peck, 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 peck. I used to have sound bites of that friggin' movie on my mixtapes. I used to do mixtapes like everyone did back in the day, but in between them, I would do little movie clips. And I did Willow. I did one where I just did tons of Mad Morgan clips from Willow, just because I thought he was so funny. Get your hair in my face for it. Chop it off. I just thought that was funny. And my brother still thinks it's funny too. He loves Val Kilmer's Mad Morgan, and it is wonderful. Willow's a great movie too on its own, but Val Kilmer just eats it up. I mean, as Mad Morgan, he is the star. He is the star. That's another one. I wonder why they didn't do a sequel of that. They did a terrible, terrible Chris Claremont sequel in books that I have debated for years were not supposed to be a sequel to Willow. And I'm almost right, because Chris Claremont changes Willow's name to something else because he said he didn't want to use the name Willow. No, because you wrote a different book, and you said, let me see if I can connect this to Willow by changing the name or whatnot. It was really dumb. But the movie solid, man. Movie solid, and Val Kilmer's performance in it is bar none great. But it is not the #1 movie. I think a lot of people know. If it's not Willow, it's going to be this other one, and you are right. Tombstone. Tombstone, folks, is just gold. I'm not going to do a top 5 westerns ever because I'm not really big on western movies. But if I did, Tombstone would probably be #1. When Val Kilmer plays a very sick doc, it's fantastic. It's fantastic the way Val Kilmer gets into that role. I'll be your Huckleberry. Him drawing that gun. The guy draws a gun. He draws a little tin cup and kind of swishes it around, trying to make fun of the guy who's swishing his gun around with the gunplay. It's just great. Great. Absolutely love Val Kilmer in Tombstone. I don't know anyone who doesn't like Val Kilmer in Tombstone. He just plays it. And all the characters in Tombstone just solid. Knock it out of the park. And that's what Val Kilmer does in this one. I remember I had 2 copies of this because people knew how much I loved it. 2 people bought it for me. I remember I gave it away because back then you could trade movies at Blockbuster. I traded away at Blockbuster. The Blockbuster guy goes, "Now," he said, "You sure you want to give this one away?" I said, I got a double." He went, "Oh, okay." He said, "I was going to say because he said we don't have anything better. You could trade movies for points to get other movies." He said, "I'm going to say," he said, "anything that we have in our store is not as good as Tombstone." I went, "Oh, I know. I just had an extra one. Wanted to give that to you and trade off." And so I would just trade. I used to trade in. Did anyone trade in DVDs at Blockbuster? Does anyone know what Blockbuster is anymore? But I used to do that a lot too. I used to trade in, and I got posters and stuff like that from my Blockbuster trades back in the day. That was back when and shortly after that, Blockbuster started falling apart, and the store started closing, so I had to use my store credit quick. And I bought a bunch of crap that I think I still have some of that today, but I don't want it. I didn't want it. I just wanted to wait till another, previously viewed DVD came out so I could use my credit to buy it. That's what I was going to use it for originally. But anyway, Tombstone is just a great one. That is why it is my number one Val Kilmer movie. Hey, folks, do you care about Val Kilmer? Of course you do. You should, at least. Well, what, in your opinion, were his best films? I'm going to guess that you're going to say, well, Matt, I can only come up with two, maybe Willow and Tombstone. But were there other ones you like? Do you like Val Kilmer like I like Val Kilmer? Does my voice kind of go up like this when you talk about Val Kilmer? I don't know. Just let me know. And I'll see you next time on more Saturday Morning Samoflange.